Welcome to the 7th episode of the TUM.ai podcast. Today we're here with us, Florian Scherl, and I'm your host, Laurenz Sommerlad. Florian, please introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me there. I'm Florian, 19 years old, founder of Fast AI Movies. And with Fast AI Movies, we have developed an AI-based software as a service system that generates e-learning for employee training out of a short input text.
Awesome. So what is your story? What are you really doing? What drives you?
So personally, myself motivates the entrepreneurship spirit as well as the coding spirit. So I started myself, I taught myself programming at the age of 12, and I'm doing AI programming since 4 years now. And basically 2 years ago, I wanted to go into the startup field because I think it's really inspirational if you can build something from zero and build your own company and your own product. And that's what drives myself, especially now with Fast AI Movies.
Wow. Why did you start at 12 with programming?
Good question. So first of all, I had a very good teacher. So it was not my own teacher, but a teacher at our school. And he offered some extra lessons where he motivated us to start with programming, but in Java in particular. And I just had fun with this. And then he gave me some resources, online courses, online exercises also for students, and there was then my fun caught, and since that I always wanted to dive deeper into programming and solving problems, solving challenges, and that's why I have started with this. Awesome.
So how did you start Fast AI Movies? First, maybe what really is it? Who's part of the team? What are you trying to do here?
Yeah, so as I said in the beginning, with Fast AI Movies, we basically are the ChatGPT for video creation. So in one sentence, if it's a one-sentence pitch, I now always pitch like this because since 6 months, everybody knows ChatGPT, so it's quite easy to understand. But if we go deeper, we are basically providing a software as a service system for e-learning creation, for internal employee training, because employee training is a crucial part of each company's success, because without well-trained employees, companies will have higher error rates, higher costs, and also less motivated employees, and therefore it's very important to have this kind of employee training. And that's first of all what we solve. So to go now more technically, we have developed our own large language models that can take as an input bullet points, few sentences, and then generate a coherent explanatory training videos. So not marketing videos with stock photos or something like this, but really like explanatory videos with graphs, diagrams, and so on. That's from the technical side. From the team perspective, we are now a team of 16 people. Of course, most of them are interns, so half-time. But a team of 16 people. We are located at the TUM Incubator in Garching, have our own office space, and we have currently 9 paying customers in the B2B field, and now the next goals are to expand those customers to 30.
So, okay, now looking at the market, you're doing text to video, right?
Yes.
So what are you trying to do there, and what is the competition right now? Everyone is storming towards video production and chat bots and everything.
Sure. So in general, of course, this market is very competitive. I mean, as I said, since the launch of ChatGPT, everybody is aware of generative AI, transformer models, large language models. In general, what is our advantage? Most of the people are focusing on commercial videos, on sales videos, either on sales videos or on talking heads. So I think probably everybody knows Synthesia. I mean, it's from a TUM professor co-founded, and they are generating these talking heads. And then there are several companies that are combining some stock photos to videos, but that's not our market. We really want to focus on the educational market, on the main problem that it's not so easy to represent relations between texts in an animated, coherent way. And that's where we have built our transformer models, and where I'm confident in that we have here some kind of first mover advantage is that we do not rely on one single model, because it would be too complicated. It would not be, from the technical perspective, it would simply not work, because one model cannot cover it. Yes, and therefore we have developed 5 models in total that will be executed one after another, and therefore I'm quite confident that we do not get so much troubles currently in this kind of field, or so much competition in this kind of field. But of course, what could happen is that there is another more effective way compared to training videos to train employees, and therefore it could happen, of course, any time that people say training videos are not any more innovative. And then, of course, we need to see how we can develop this further, and therefore what we are currently already trying is to make those training videos more interactive. So we have a multiple choice quiz, what will be executed in the end. After the video, we will we have developed already our own video player that the customer can really interact with the video, and things like that we want to build further to not just rely on this video component where we do not know whether it's in 5 years still needed or not.
So you already teased the technical part so much. Let's dive deep. What are these 5 models about?
Yeah, so all of those 5 models are large language models. And of course, they are not always on the same architecture. So we have some models that are really like transformer models, llama models, that just generate from input, output. And then we have some models that rely on the BERT architecture that are more like classifying some tokens. It's important for us because otherwise we do not get a high accuracy for relations between words or key phrases. And then we have another model that will generate us later those icons. So currently we make there a matching between key phrases, sentence, and our database, but later we want to expand our database with another generative adversarial network that will then generate really new images, new icon SVG images. That's from the high-level perspective the main AI use cases we use, or the main models we have trained.
So maybe quickly for non-techies here, what is a transformer? What are tokens? And what are you classifying?
So basically, maybe to start the explanation. So in general, a large language model or transformer model is used to understand language. So as I said, ChatGPT is based on transformer models, BART is based on transformer models, everything is based on transformer models. And transformer models were first introduced by Google in 2017. And what they do is an encoder-decoder architecture. So if you want to predict sentences, words, and so on, it's not like that it just reads in these words or those sentences and then writes down the output. Instead, it embeds those words into into some vector space and calculates distances between those words, and then generates based on this the output based on probabilities and so on. Because why is it done like this? So in general, our language is quite complicated. If you now use single letters, for example, you would have a million of combinations of those single letters, and you cannot store so good information. If you use full sentences, you would have less or full words. You would not have enough representatives to store those informations. Therefore, those tokens were invented, because tokens are subparts of words, and one token will represent, as I said, one subpart of the word. So you do not have the fear that there are black words that will not be later represented. So if there is some input, you always need to think, how can you embed this? If you do not have any tokens for this, you cannot embed this. So if you just use as token whole words or whole sentences, you won't cover all the input. If you use subwords, then it's not a problem, because you can nearly cover every word that's available or something like this, and then also predict the output. And that's basically how those transformer models work in general, or why we need tokens, and that's the architecture behind this.
Thank you so much for this explanation. If you have any more questions, stop by the AI Academy. Now let's get back to your business. What does your business model look like? How would a company approach you if they want to make their own workshops, make their own company employee training videos?
So basically we have, in the end, a subscription model, but our sales process has 2 parts before. So first, if somebody is interested, he can just jump to our website, app.fast-ai-movies.de, log into our web app, put in their input text, and then use our software to generate a free demo video. But he cannot do there any corporate design adaptations. He cannot generate any multiple choice quiz and so on. It's really just like to see how our models operate, how our models work. It's also limited on 2 minutes, and afterwards it's cut off. Then, if the person is further interested, he can do a proof of concept if you do not want to enter already our subscription model. Proof of concept means he can upload his corporate design, he can use our full service, so he can also generate a multiple choice quiz, he can use our video player, he can use our web app also to make changes of the generated video if he doesn't like, for example, our icons that were generated or keywords or slides that were generated. And it's also not like only testing a proof of concept for the creator, it's also a proof of concept for the employee. Because in the end, of course, the companies do this, that the employees have fun on employee training, but also understand, for example, products better, understand the compliance process better, understand some soft skills better. And therefore, in my opinion, it's always important that not only the person who later uses the software system makes a proof of concept, but also the person who should be educated by this should make a proof of concept if the videos are sufficient or are helpful or are not helpful. And then if still everybody says, yes, it's great, then they can enter one of our subscription models based on their features and minutes they want to generate. Our subscription models are quite flexible, so we do not have a 1 month period, we always have a 6-month period. So a company does not need to generate within 31 days or 30 days all their videos. Minutes, the company can really shift them, and therefore, nobody needs to have a fear that he does not have enough content, because within 6 months, so many products changes, so many processes changes, maybe even new laws will appear, like now in the mechanical engineering industry, and then you always need new content. And also, of course, you can cancel it as soon as you think you really don't need any more some content. But most of them stay as soon as they have entered the model within, because, as I said, it's quite flexible and does not have high standards or something like this.
So you have different subscription tiers based on GPU hours and all of that. Might you share what the prices are, what the different tiers look like?
So I mean, I can share a bit about the features what we have. So we have in the small package just the video with corporate design, and to download this video, and 2 changes on all 5 minutes, as long as there is not more than 20% of the content change, because otherwise a company could have in mind just to make a change and delete all the text, put in a new text, and then get a second video or a third video. And that's not, of course, what we want. The medium package, that's our most liked package, because it includes a multiple choice quiz and also a video player. So this means the company does not need to host the videos by their own. They can just share our link, embed our link as, for example, an iframe on their website, and don't have any tasks to do to get this video running into their environment. The third package, so our large package, also includes a learn management system integration, LMS integration, and that's helpful for huge companies who have all their employees onboarded on one central system and needs to get feedback whether really all employees have watched this video, whether all employees have passed the quiz, whether some employees have broken within because it was not understandable or boring, and therefore they can make use of our LMS subscription. And then we have 20 minutes at the small package, 30 minutes at the medium package, and 60 minutes at the large package. And how they differentiate in price are most likely like the small package is for 6 months around 2,000 euro, the medium package is for 6 months around 4,000 euro, and the large package is for 6 months around 6,000 euros. But it's changing depending on extra features or extra requirements the companies have.
Awesome, thank you very much. So what were the biggest challenges coming up with this business model and also with the technical part of it? Maybe
if we first focus on the business model, it was quite challenging to find a business model with recurring revenue. You know, every investor or also every founder would like to have some recurring revenue business model because it makes easy to calculate. It's quite attractive because sales process is quite easy because you only need to focus in the end to generate new leads, but you always have a backbone with revenue or a backbone of customers. And to find a business model like this for us was not so easy because most of the companies said, I have now my use case. I now, for example, need to train my employees for this one trade fair, for this one law, and later I don't need to train them anymore. So I don't need a constant service where I constantly can generate training videos. And how we came up was after we had the first one-time fees, we saw, well, it's great how our employees work with our system, but after several weeks, the videos are already outdated because, you know, we are living in a fast-changing world. There are constantly coming new products, and therefore, of course, also the training videos needs to be constantly updated. And then we thought about, like, based on our first customers, when did they need to make changes on the videos? And we saw it was about a 6-month period maximum. And then we said, like, then let's do a 6-month period. Then they can then they can generate every 6 months new videos, but they don't need to do this every month. And also, what's of course now a good argument for us to have them on board is as soon as they cancel our subscription, they cannot longer use our hosted videos, so they need to download them. Then they don't have anymore the multiple choice quiz. It's more or less useless, especially if it comes to onboarding processes. And that was the challenge with the business model. The challenge at the technical side was mostly with extracting relations. So what's quite easy is to generate out of bullet points a coherent text. It's also quite easy to extract from bullet points key phrases and to get icons and so on, but it's not so easy to get, if you have some key phrases, if you have a text, to get key phrases in relation to the text. That's not so easy. So of course in NLP there's relation matching or relation extraction, but it's more like you have several nouns and you want to make relations between nouns, whether, for example, a father and a child, how they are related, or a king and a son and something like this. But you don't make relations like whether it's a process, whether it's a causality, whether it's parallel, whether it's antonym, whether it's contradictionary, and so on. Those relations is some classifying tasks. Those relations need to be classified, and that's not so easy. And that was our main tech challenge.
And you had no problem with animating a human realistic representation to actually conduct these workshops?
Not so much, because as soon as we have those relations extracted from the AI and all those things, we have quite not a simple algorithm, but a deterministic algorithm that will generate us the animations, the slides, and then the coherent training video. And therefore, it was not so difficult from the technical perspective. Of course, we need to make a lot of thinking before, because we need to think what features do we want to include, but later it's not so difficult to implement this compared to those relation models, because those, if you want to train them, you need to build a data set. There's not a lot of there was no data basically available, so we need to manually label or manually annotate all of our data. Of course, we could make some tricks later to artificially upscale this data, but it was more or less hard work compared to the other tasks.
Sounds like a lot of all-nighters.
Yeah.
So how did the AI Lab influence your growth and development?
Yeah. So the great thing of the AI Lab was that when I started there, I had already founded and had already the first paying customer, but I did not really know like where to focus now. So how to get from the first to the first 10 paying customers, what are the next steps, and how to build a team and so on. And that's basically what I learned. So I learned two things in the AI Lab. First, how to build a team. And second was how to find my market segment. As I said, I was quite unsure where should we focus and so on. And after the AI Lab, I had found the market segment of mechanical engineering industry, and it was also a lot of easier later to attract more customers and so on, as we were more focused. And yeah, that's basically the main thing what I learned from the AI Lab. And then another thing was pitching. So I liked that we always had pitchings. So we had a pitching at the beginning, then I think we had a pitching after 2 or 3 weeks. We had a pitching then mid of December. We had a pitching beginning of January or something like this. And then of course the final pitch event. The great thing, if you pitch so often, it's in the end quite easy to pitch. I mean, I was used to pitching before also, but mostly we just pitched at final pitch events. So it was also always quite exciting because you never did it before. Of course, you did it before at another event, at another accelerator maybe or something like this, but you was outdated, and then it was quite exciting. But if you really pitch each week and so on, I mean, you do an investor pitch, not a customer pitch. Customer's pitch is, of course, I do every day and so on, but investor pitches are always something different. But if you do those investor pitches every 2 weeks or something like this, you get used to it, and it's also easier.
Okay, was this also your favorite part about it, or what would you say you liked about the AI Lab?
Yeah, I mean, of course, what was great was in the end this final pitch event, because I mean, it was at Microsoft, there was a cool jury, there were so many people. I also got a team member, our NLP lead from this pitch event, because he was there, he was he was one of the students who joined, and he listened to the pitch, and we exchanged later, and then he started at Fast AI Movies. So this was definitely my highlight.
Perfect, perfect. So what advice would you have for inspiring entrepreneurs that might want to apply for the AI Lab?
In general, or just focus on the AI Lab?
Yeah, for now, for the AI Lab.
Okay, so first of all, I would recommend those guys to really apply. So if they are not sure whether they should apply or not, then just apply. You will see whether it will work or not, because you can just win. So also, if you think you're not ready so far, you will learn pitching, and then if it does not work or something like this, it's not a big issue or not a big problem. Second, what I would recommend is not to have the fear that somebody might steal your idea. So maybe it was because of my young age, but I always had the fear 2 years ago, if I now tell a lot of people what I want to do and so on, that then there are coming thousands of people who build the same thing, and then make there some competition, and it's just bullshit, because you need to think about 2 ways rational. So if you don't tell it somebody, you cannot sell later, and you will build in the wrong direction. If you tell, yes, you could think there will be somebody who will imitate this, but of course it's not like, because you are the expert in this field. So you have done this maybe already 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or even longer. So everybody who starts now has a disadvantage compared to you, as you are the expert, so you don't need to have there a lot of fears that somebody will build the same.
Awesome. Okay. So what do you think? How can people make the most out of the program? What did you do to embrace it?
So first of all, join the pitch sessions. Second, collaborate with your mentor and your coach closely. They will give you a lot of advices and help you to grow further. Third, very important, exchange with your peers. So peer-to-peer learning is sometimes the best way to learn something. And then if you're also motivated and interested in all other parts, you will make most out of it.
Perfect. So what is the current status of your startup? How has it changed since the last batch of the AI Lab?
So as I said, after the AI Lab, we grew in our team. We also did some shiftings about who is now responsible for tech, who is responsible for sales. We try to build, or we are still building, some organizational or also management structure, because now it's not so easy to have all people direct reporting anymore. So we need there now a bit more structure. And of course, we grew in our we grew with our customers, so we got more customers. We also now are looking out for a new market segment. We are now focusing also on public sector, so on local governments, on cities, and on ministries, because they have complicated texts, they have laws, and they have some procedures. For example, how do I get my ID card or something like this? And they have the requirement by law to make all of those content in a way that it's understandable for everybody. So from people who don't speak German, for people who have maybe some who are disabled maybe, and just also for children and so on. And therefore the best way is to have a training video with audio and visualization. Because if you combine audio and visualization, you will have the best learning effect, and that's where we want to focus now, because there's a high potential, a high market potential, and of course, we now start nearly by the same level where we have started before the AI Lab in the new market segment, as we need to attract there the first customers and so on. So it's always the same, like it's another part of the startup life. And then we have launched in May our web app. This was a huge step, as we now can accelerate a lot in sales, as of course we automized the way 100%. So there's no email communication anymore needed. They can just upload there the text and download the videos. And now the next steps are to get those other customers also with partner sales. So we are currently building partner sales, and then we want to look until end of the year for some funding.
So your team, you're now 16 people, right?
Yes.
Did you build a marketing team, sales, kind of engineers? What do you have?
We have divided it first of all into two parts. We call it business development and engineering. Business development is filtered by marketing, search engine optimization, sales, and investor grant research. Engineering is filtered into full stack, front end, and natural language processing. And then within this kind of fields, we have some other responsibilities. So one team member just focus on an internal web app. So you can also call it like a support web app, that we can support our customers better. One team member in the NLP area just focuses on one part of our whole pipeline to improve just the text generation part. And there we have several shared responsibilities. We do not need to go into this deeper, but in general, that's our structure.
Are these all your age? So all in their 20s as well? Well, you're 19.
Yeah, so I'm not in the 20s already. But yes, of course, so they are all students. Most of them at the TUM, not all. We have from those 16, 14 in Munich located, to out of Munich, but in Germany. And most of them are in the mid-20s. But I think we also have some who are already 35 or something like this.
Wow.
And some who are the early 20s, but most of them are at the mid-20s and beginning 30s.
How do you afford them? How can a young startup like yours in its early stage with few paying customers afford 16 employees?
You should apply for grants. So we got some grants. And of course, you should generate revenue. So that's always the easiest thing. But I know it sounds easy, but it isn't. And it's also our main challenge. So of course, if we get more customers, we can pay even more people. Basically, what I'm still looking for is for another 2 salespeople. But it's hard. So we cannot now. Salespeople are always very expensive. So we cannot afford them now. But we need them, of course, to get more customers. So it's like a problem where we do not know what's the first step. So what we try out now is this partner sales or a freelance sales, because there we can just pay them as soon as we get contracts, so it's easier.
Kind of commission, right?
Yes, commission based, and then let's see if we got there another customers, if we then can afford another salespeople.
All right, awesome. So maybe let's get back to the AI Lab.
Yeah.
What were your key learnings and insights that you gained from it?
As I said, first of all, my key learning was pitching. Pitching is always something where you are not so confident in the beginning, but as soon as you do this for several times, you get more confident. Then second key learning was focus. So first I was thinking that you can make everything. So I just said, like, we are the layer above. You can give us any text, we give you any video. But it's bullshit, not just from the technical perspective, also from the market perspective. You know, like, if you don't give your customer or your potential customer or your interview partner a concrete use case, he does not know what to do. So he will not pay you. He won't buy the software because he does not have a use case right now. He says, like, let's think in the future, and you don't close any sales. But if you tell him, look, you have the responsibility, there's a law that requires you to train your employees on your supply chain. Therefore, make a video about your supply chain and so on. Even if you provide them some templates, then it's much more easier also in your sales process, because then the customer does not have any work to do. He just takes those templates and gets the video. And that's what we then try to do after the AI Lab. So what we said is, or where we focused on, we looked for companies who have an internal company wiki. where they have listed just articles about their products, about their processes, and so on. If we found a company like this, we said to them, look, you just need to copy the text from your internal wiki, paste it to our software, and then you will get the training video. And that was the second learning with focus, yes.
Awesome. All right, maybe to conclude this podcast, any last advice for fellow founders and fellow entrepreneurs?
Another advice after the
Another advice.
two advices.
First advice for specific for the AI Lab.
Okay.
Now, generally for people who are trying to start out.
Yeah.
You can also advise them to, of course, sign up for the AI Lab. That is awesome advice. But.
So definitely sign up for the AI Lab. And then, second is basically the same. If I advise now somebody to sign up for the AI Lab, sign up to everything. So what I mean with this is take as much support as possible. I think I said it already in the beginning. You will need, as a founder, a huge network. I underestimated how many things you need to do as a founder. And if I would not have my network, I would not be at the position where I am now. Because you need experts in law, you need experts in taxes, you need experts in sales, you need experts in marketing. Because mostly you're expert in one field. I was expert a bit in the AI field, but also not, of course, 100%. But you're not experts in everything. But as founder, you need to be expert in everything, and therefore you need to find people who are experts in the other fields and who want to help you. And the good thing is there are so many people out there who will help you. And the second good thing is you can always ask. The worst thing that would happen is that the people say no, but then you can ask another one.
All right. Are you worried about deepfakes at all? About regulations around that could affect you?
So the good thing is, first of all, we are not generating those talking heads and so on. So we are really generating those animated presentations, and therefore we are not so much affected if somebody regulates now this deepfakes. Where I'm really aware of is now of this AI Act from the European Union, because I think it will have a negative impact at general on the startup landscape in Germany, but also in Europe. I discussed this now also at some panel discussions or with other founders, but also with some other experts who did not found a startup, but just are employed in a company and have therefore a lot of things to do with AI. And most of them agree with me, because you need to see 3 points what makes it difficult now with this AI Act. We can now, with some techniques, fine-tune large language models. 13 billion parameter models is not a problem at all to fit on a 3090. So this still works with some special techniques. But if this AI Act comes, you will have a regulation, you need to document and so on, and it will cost you maybe 150 or 200,000 euro to document everything, to certify for everything. And of course, companies like OpenAI, Google and so on can afford this. But small startups cannot afford this. Second, it's a global game. So if you now regulate something in the European Union, companies will go either to US or to Asia. Third, it does not make sense for me to regulate on a technology, because you should always regulate on use cases. And there is the point where I don't understand the politicians, because you could already now manipulate images, for example, with Adobe Photoshop. It's not a problem, you could have done this 5 years ago. And of course it's forbidden to publish something like this. So if you have the regulation on publishing manipulated photos, that's for me totally okay, of course, because otherwise society will not work. But why to regulate a whole AI ecosystem just because there's one negative or some negative use cases?
Exactly, it's always about the user. Florian, thank you so much for joining today. Where can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, thank you first of all for the invitation. It was really a great talk. So if you have further questions, then just reach out to me either via LinkedIn or write an email to florian.scherl@fast-ai-movies.com. I'm really happy to stay in contact with you.
He's an awesome guy, and listen to his advice. Join the AI Lab, subscribe to all our socials, and stay up to date. See you next time.